Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and it is time to do what we do every expansion. Once all the cards are announced and revealed, rank them all on a tier list, at least the legendaries from S through F, best S being like an auto-include, meta-defining, insane legendary, and F being unplayable garbage. Well, it's probably playable in some way, but it's something you're going to feel probably pretty bad about opening. There'll be a template linked down below if you want to fill it out and show me how wrong I am. And today is the last day to enter our giveaway for Showdown in the Badlands. 2 regular pre-orders, 2 mega bundles I'm giving away out of my pocket to enter that giveaway. Like and comment on the video in the description below. Be subscribed to the channel. We are just under 200 subscribers away from unlocking that next mega bundle. So tell your family, tell your pets to subscribe to unlock it. And if we don't, we'll just add it on to the next giveaway and all that stuff. So no big pressure. Anyways, get in there. We'll announce the winners in tomorrow's video, which will probably be a little bit later as I'm expecting the patch notes to drop, which should be pretty darn exciting. So let's make our tier list. First, we have the Warrior Legendary Boom Boss Thogren at 8 mana, 7/7 Battlecry. Shuffle 3 TNT into your deck. When drawn, blow up a card in the enemy hand, deck, and battlefield. So this can destroy enemy minions on the board, locations, and in the opponent's handed deck, basically any card. It's really slow. It's an 8 mana 7/7. Effectively do nothing other than it's going to summon some Reddit threads in lower ranked games. I just feel like Warrior cannot really afford playing an 8 mana card that does absolutely nothing, and in like against aggressive matchups really does nothing. And yeah, it's like 3 patchworks against the slower matchups, and you can't tutor with like the 3 mana draw beast. There is that, so I will put it in a C bracket, but yeah, I'm sure we'll hear about it plenty on Reddit. Next, we have the Sheriff Barrel Brimmy, a neutral legendary. 4 mana 4/4 Battlecry. If you have 20 or less health, open the Badlands jail. I don't know what deck's really going to want to do this. They need to consistently get below 20 health. I'm thinking like Warlock. Warrior even has like cards that do that they've never seen play. The location's pretty good. You're able to basically make a minion dormant for 3 turns over and over and over, including your own if you really want to do that. Seems kind of fringe. Seems like it's going to be hard to reliably get yourself to that 20 to get that location going, but I'll give it a C. It might pop up, maybe especially like Highlander decks, we could see that. We have 5, the Setting Sunny, 9 mana, 4/12 Dragon. 4 Druid is Rush, Lifesteal, Taunt, and costs 1 less for each dragon you've summoned this game. You really don't need to summon that much for a 4/12 Rush, Lifesteal's Taunt to feel good. And I think Dragon Druid has a legitimate shot. There's a lot of support for it. Maybe it's in Highlander, maybe just discover this off your Highlander card, but I'll give it a B. Like any card that could go down to 0 that has like that kind of a swing, Lifesteal, Taunt, Rush, pretty good, and I could see it popping up in some Dragon Druid decks. But yeah, you're probably going to be wanting to run some dragons. But even like Topiary, right? Topiary giving those whelps, they're all dragons that summon. It all works pretty well. We have Snake Eyes, the 3 mana 2/3 Naga for Demon Hunter. Battlecry, you roll 2 dice, then discover cards of those costs, and if you roll the same one twice, doubles, you get an extra discover. So like 2 6s, you get 3 6s, right? So that's pretty cool. You don't have to spend the mana on the dice. It's more of a visual demonstration. It's value for a class that has not cared about value, but I think they might. I think this is a Highlander card. I think this specifically goes in to those Highlander Demon Hunter decks and is just a really good value generator in the mid game. So I'm gonna give it a B. I'm a little bit higher on it now that we know those Highlander cards have Reno, which we'll talk about, which is pretty darn busted. We have Flint Firearm, a 3 mana 3/3 neutral legendary Battlecry. You get a random quick draw card. If you play it this turn, repeat this. You can use it with like watch that 3 mana post, whatever post, discount both. I think it discounts quick draw and a legendary. You could shadow step it and effectively get infinite value as long as you have the mana, board space, and quick draw cards are pretty good, but not necessarily always playable. I don't think this sees meta play, but it could in like, yeah, a rogue style deck with shadow step or something that could really discount and spam it. But overall, I'm going to throw it under C. I'm just not sure what's going to pop into. Next, we have the Death Knight legendary Resca, the Pit Boss, a 20 mana minion, 6/3 undead. It's got an Unholy and Frost rune and it has Rush. It costs 1 less for each minion that died this game, friendly or enemy. Death Rattle, take control of a random enemy minion. There's quite a lot of ways to copy this. You got that 4 mana copy an undead spell, which not very good, but maybe with this, you have the 1 mana copy your death rattles. You could bring this back with your excavate reward, which by the way, we're not going to rate the rewards because they're all busted and they're not, they're not collectible, but they're all really high. They're all really good. But yeah, Resca, I think just slots into certain decks. It could cost 0. Take the board, be resummoned, do some really good stuff. And I just think it pops into multiple decks. Like, as long as you have stuff consistently dying, I want this. The only thing is it can't go to a triple rune deck, but I feel like the more non-triple rune cards we get like this, the more those decks are popping up, and I think this will help elevate that stuff as well. And I think Excavate has the legitimate shot when you do have a card like Resca. We have Dr. Holiday, the 5 mana 4/5 Shaman legendary, Highlander legendary. Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, equip the Staff of the 9 Frogs. It's a weapon that basically you could summon up to a 9/9 frog with taunt, which is pretty darn ridiculous and allows you to just constantly generate threats as you go into the late game, especially into your Reno. And if your opponent doesn't have weapon removal, they're going to have to deal with an army of frogs that really, they need to be made to not just be green tokens. But overall, I think it slots into Highlander decks. Highlander decks are going to be real. Reno's insane, and I'm going to give it an A. I just do think it's a really solid card, especially on curve without weapon removal coming down on it. It's going to get pretty darn nuts. We have Scar the Catastrophe, a 7 mana to 7/7 elemental legendary for Shaman. Battlecry, deal 1 damage to all enemies, so that goes phase, and is improved by each turn in a row you played an elemental. So if you took a turn off from playing an elemental, this resets to 1, which makes it a lot worse than I originally kind of thought. And there's just not a lot of great elemental generators in Shaman at the moment. There are in Mage, but Shaman, I'm not as sold. I think this is an incredible card with the right support. I'm just not sold on the support being there, but I'm still going to give it a B, because if it does come together at all, playing a 7/7 that could just clear the board or murder your opponent, yeah, that's pretty darn effective, but you got to do a lot of kind of garbage stuff to get it to that point. We have Kingpin PUD, the 6 mana 6/7 neutral legendary. Battlecry, you resurrect your Ogre Gang, give them Win Fury. There's all these Ogre Gang cards this expansion, and they get Win Fury, so that's pretty good. Have Rush, and they can act immediately. So yeah, is this good? It looks terrible because you got to run all these relatively bad Ogre Gang cards, but it's like the cheapest mass resurrection card we've ever seen for the neutral pool. You've had like the Zoths and stuff, they've always seen play. I don't want to say that this doesn't see play. It could be a lot of stats. And again, classes like particular Rogue, where they could Shadow Step and Breakdance it, I'm not going to completely sleep on the Ogre Gang. I think it's got a shot, so I'm going to give it a low B. Maybe I'm overrating it, but that is a lot of stats that a lot of classes really can't deal with it when it comes down. We have Drilly the Kid, a 4 mana, 4/3 mech for Rogue, Battlecry, Quick Draw, and Death Rattle. Excavate a treasure, and Excavate I think is going to be an incredible keyword this expansion. You get a common, then a rare, an epic treasure, and for the 4th you get a legendary, which basically every class is really good. The funny thing about this card, even if you're not playing a full Excavate deck, I think you are playing this as is a 4 mana 4/3 mech, which has mech synergies. You're basically going to get possibly 3 cards just out of that alone, which is just incredible value for 1 card. You might not always get the quick draw and all that, but I'm giving this an S. I think this could just slot into any deck, not necessarily just an Excavate deck, as it is just so much value in 1 card. Maybe I'm getting distracted by that, but I'm gonna go with it. We have the Tram Conductor Jerry, 7 mana, 4/4 Warlock legendary. Battlecry, if you've excavated twice, summon 6 3/3 tram cars with Rush. I believe they're mechs. And yeah, I think Excavate Warlock's going to be ridiculous. I think it might get nerfed. The reward, that snake there, that's going to suck your health. You play that 3 times, you win the game unless your opponent has a base health over 30. They got to be a Renethal deck because it literally steals the health. Armor doesn't help. And yeah, this card will help me get to that stage in the game because I get a full board of Rushers, and then I get to the Azurite Snake and I try and bounce it and kill my opponent. I'm giving this an S. I think Warlock, in particular Excavate Warlock, looks really spooky, and this card can absolutely get you there. And excavating twice by turn 6 or 7, Really not that difficult. Hey, Reno the Lone Ranger. Yes, the first ever neutral hero card. 8 mana, you get 5 armor, Battle Cry. If your deck has no duplicates, you empty just the enemy board, not your own, and limit it to 1 minion for their next turn. So they can only summon 1 minion that entire turn to duel them. It's high noon. You get all these hero powers. They all deal 2 damage. They might draw you a card, generate a spell, give you a minion, give you armor. They're all good. The Battle Cry in itself is absolutely nuts. Will elevate any Highlander deck to be crazy, and the hero power on top of it, they're all really, really good. This is the best legendary in the set. I would be shocked if this card stays, it's basically this way until the end. Like, it just seems absolutely busted. We have Madun, the Fractured Madun, 6 mana, 6/5 elemental, Battle Cry. You draw an elemental, you split it in 2 halves. So let's say you get Ragnaros was the example. You get 2 4 mana, 4/4 Ragnaroses. The text on the card stays the same. The other big one to cheat out is Neptulon, which you'd get 2 5 mana Neptulons, and one would have 4 attack and 3 health. The other one would have 3 attack and 4 health. That's how they divvy up the splitted stats, right? So say a card's 9 mana, one will be 5 mana and 4 mana, right? That's how it's been confirmed it splits. And then you have 2 5 mana Neptulons. That's really good. I see this as like a scam card in certain mage decks, and you're running just those big elementals. I don't know how good it is, but I'm gonna give it a B because I do think that could realistically be a thing, but again, only with selected elementals. Next, we have Slagb the Slumbering. 4 mana, 16/16. Elemental beast for warrior. It has rush, it has taunt, but it goes dormant for 8 turns. You excavate it to awaken it 2 turns sooner. So you just keep, excavating, and you can get it out in like turn 5 or 6 if you excavate a lot. But removal is really good these days, and I don't think it's winning the game. It's a terrible top deck. I was high on the card when I initially saw it because it's so cool looking. But yeah, it's probably unplayable. And I'm really sad about that because the signature art's really good, but I gotta give it an F. It's so slow. Even in the ideal situation, it feels really slow. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm really wrong because it looks really cool, but I'm not entirely convinced. We have Vrock Windblade, the 3 mana 3/3 rogue legendary. While this is in your hand, play 3 cards from other classes to reveal Vrock's true form, which is a 3 mana 3/6 charge minion that when it attacks, it discovers a card from another class, and it's 3 less. So that's value, it's charge. It is one of the coolest, most thematically flavored Thief Rogue cards. You can't really abuse the charge because you got to play the burgle cards, which means it's probably not super competitive. I'm gonna give it a C. I love the card. I think it's super cool, but I don't think it's a competitive card. I think it's a card people will really enjoy playing, which I think is perfectly fine. Those should exist in Hearthstone too. We have Therin the Lost, a 4 mana 3/4 hunter legendary. Battle Cry. If your deck has no duplicates, gain immune this turn and attack all enemies. This is like unnerfed Prison Breaker with no real activation needed, and you get the 3/4 and it goes face. You can hand buff it. There's a lot of good stuff. I think, again, Highlander decks are going to be a thing. Highlander Hunter is going to be a thing. This card, I think, is solid. I'm giving it an A. I know a lot of people don't think it's that great. I think it's just going to be a ridiculous on-curve card where you're basically guaranteed to have the board going into an aggressive or more like a good mid-range hunter curve. You want that. That's just a really good thing. And the late game, it can scale with hand buffing. We have Spirit of the Badlands, a 3 mana 3/4 undead beast for paladin. Battle Cry. If your deck has no duplicates, get a permanent mirage, and that effectively is a mirage that at the start of your turn you discover a copy of a minion from your deck. So once you play it, you got to wait till your next turn to get to be able to play it again. You can't just keep chaining because it says at the start of your turn, but it can't be removed other than, I guess, the TNT card from Warrior, or if it's stolen with a Theotar or something like that, right? So solid card, really good value. You're just gonna get more good stuff, more Titans, Colossals, stuff you want from your deck because you're not running bad minions. You're just getting more consistency, and you play this on 3, you're gonna be really happy with the flexibility you have. And again, I think Highlander decks are gonna be cracked. I'm giving it an A. It's just really, really solid. I'll give it a very high A, not quite S, but I think it'll be really good. We have Ma and Pa, the 4 mana 1/5 undead legendary for Death Knight. It's a blood rune, unholy rune. At the end of your turn, gain 5 corpses, so pretty much guaranteed. At the start of your turn, so if it survives, spend 5 corpses to give your hero +5 health. This stays on the board. It's going to keep on happening and happening. Of course, there's undead things you can copy, resummon, all of that. I think it's a really solid card. It effectively has taunt. It gives you corpses, which you're going to want. Even if it dies, +5 corpses is a lot. And it's going to get some damage, a lot of distraction towards it. I wish it was a fully blood card, but I'm gonna give it a B. I think it goes into certain decks, and that effect, I know the stat line in terms of attacking, great, but when it's that high health and can have that much of upside, I have hopes for the card. We have Riestraza, the 8-mana 8/8 dragon for Druid. Battle cry if your deck has no duplicates. Summon the Purified Dragon Nest. This can be removed by Reno, so it's not as safe as we originally thought, but the Purified Dragon Nest, at the start of your turn, you discover a dragon, it costs 4 less. It's been confirmed, by the way, you cannot get Riestraza from that nest. It's still an S tier card, in my opinion. You're going to run this in every Highlander Druid deck, in Standard, in Wild. The only downside is it's an 8-mana 8/8 do nothing, which you're playing on turn 2, because it's Druid. Okay, maybe not that early, but still. And it can be wiped by Reno, so you got to be aware of that. Maybe you want to, if you're facing another Highlander deck, try and wait it out, but then you might wait out the whole game. So who knows, but I think it is a really, really good card, and I know a lot of people are very excited about it. We have Spur Fang, the 5-mana 2/5 beast for Hunter. Battle cry and Death Rattle, summon a random beast with cost equal to this minion's attack, so you immediately get a random beast of, I guess, 2 attack or 2 cost or higher, unless this has been like debuffed in your hand, and it just gets better from there. Very slow, kind of clunky. I feel like you need to really actually buff this up to get the payoff, and I'm not entirely sure that's going to happen. So I'm going to give it a C for Hunter, but it's one that could surprise me. We have at least the Badlands Savior, 8-mana 5/5 legendary, Highlander legendary. Battle cry if your deck has no duplicates. Summon 4 4/4 copies of random minions in your deck. This is an insane stat bomb that can hit Colossals, it can hit Titans, it can hit a lot of good stuff, or just raw stat. I expect Priest to be competitive along the others. I know a lot of people are down on this card, but remember, you can Creation Protocol, get even more of these, and your opponent's got to answer it, even if it's just stats. But a lot of the times you're going to be hitting Titans and Colossals, and that's going to be outright busted, as it is copies from your deck. It's not summoning them and taking them out of your deck. I'm gonna give this a very high A. Again, it's slow, it might seem underwhelming, but I feel like it's one of those cards that you're gonna run into and be like, yeah, that's a lot better than I thought. And I think Elise might just be that card. The Badlands Bandits, not so much. 6 mana, a legendary spell for Paladin, get 8 3/2 bandits with bonus effects. Any that can't fit in your hand are summoned instead. It's the same as like the 1 Amalgam Ban and the Sparkbot random effects, so like Wind Fury Stealth, Divine Shield Reborn, all that stuff. On 6, you don't really want to play it because you're going to overdraw, because it's going to fill your hand no matter what. And yeah, you're going to get some minions, but they're blood-fed raptors. Some will have some upside of like Divine Shield or Rush or Reborn. A lot of them might just suck, like Taunt or Lifesteal or Wind Fury on an empty board. They get wiped by almost everything. I still think this card sucks. I don't know what you're doing with it, and I'll be happy to be wrong on it, but right now I almost rather play Party Up, which wasn't even that great, but we'll see. Maybe I'm just missing something on it, but I don't see it quite yet. We have Tel'Thalon Blood Watcher, the 4-mana 2/5 mage legendary. Cards that didn't start in your deck cost 4 less, but not less than 1. So if you have 2 of these on the board, they cost 8 less, but not less than 1. And I have no idea what you're doing with this card. If they cost 0, it would be a broken card, because you could just play it on 4 after already generating cards to just spam 0 mana stuff and win. But without that, it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing with this card in Standard or even Wilds for that matter. As it stands, I'm gonna give it an F. I really don't know what you're doing, even like a Deck of Lunacy or like a crazy like Transform Your Spells Mage. I still feel like you're not playing this card in that deck. I don't see it, but maybe I'm wrong, but I'm glad to see not less than 1. It's just like, I don't know what I'm doing with this card. We have the Thunderbringer, which is in the game right now. It sucks right now. 8-mana 6/6 Elemental Beast, Taunt, Death Rattle, summon an Elemental Beast, an Elemental and a Beast from your deck. I could see this being split in half by Mage. That's a pretty good split, right? You get 2 of these for 4 mana. They're 3/3s. They die. They get a lot more big stuff too. They could get Ragnaros's, Neptulons, and all that. That's pretty darn good. That could be a thing. I think this gets better with this expansion. I'm gonna give it a low B. I'm still not gonna think it's gonna be a meta-defining card, but I think it could see some meta play. We have Popguard the Putrid, my card, the 4-mana 2/6 minion. Your Your fail spells cost 1 less and have lifesteal. Battlecry get 2 barrels of sludge. They're like 2 mana fail spells that deal 3 damage to the lowest health enemy, but if you like destroy them, discard them, play them, they happen as well. And yeah, they get lifesteal while this is on the board. It's pretty good. I haven't actually rated those Warlock cards. I actually don't think they're that great outside like the 4-mana 7/7. Like, I just don't think this, it's so weird and situational, and like, it's a really cool mechanic I'm excited to try out. I just don't think it's gonna be super competitive, but this card doesn't even need to be in that. Just getting fel spells costing less. You can copy this up with like reverberations. They cost 2 less. There's combo potential. Crescendo could be really good with this, and you get those barrels of sludge. I'm gonna give it a B. I think this card has a chance. I just don't know if that whole like destroy your deck thing has a shot, but I'll try it out. We'll see how it goes. We have Gunslinger Kurtrus, the 5-mana 4/6 Highlander legendary for Demon Hunter. Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, fire 6 random 2 damage shots in the enemy's hand, at minions in their hand. So you can just blow them up, kill them. If it hits like an Acolyte of Pain, it will not draw them cards. If you hit a Death Rattle, it doesn't proc the Death Rattle. It will just blow up the card, or if they play it, it'll come out damaged. It is insane disruption. I think Highlander decks will be really good. And this one's nuts. You can just play this on 5 and destroy your opponent. Like, their chance of playing what they were planning on doing can hit combos. I'm giving it an S. I think Highlander Demon Hunter will be good, mainly because of this and Reno. And they could draw so much and get so much value. Maybe they even do like a relic package. Who knows? It just seems like this card will be a big part of it. And last, and certainly, yeah, kind of least, Pip the Potent, a 4-mana 3/5 priest legendary Battlecry. Copy each 1-cost card in your hand. The bottle thing, I don't care about getting bottles. I don't care about getting more locations, or I guess I could get some funnel cakes and maybe do some scams, but there's not really ways that I could think of killing people. And even on Twitter, I haven't seen any great theorized stuff, and I just don't see what this card is doing at the moment. If there's that right deck out there, this could be insane, but as it stands, yeah, it's gonna get enough. I think it's gonna be pretty unplayable for the near future, but as you can see, we got more S's than F's. We got a lot of B's and A's. I think a lot of meta defining legendaries coming up. Let me know what you guys think about everything going on. Share your templates with me, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with the big giveaway winners and hopefully the patch notes. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.